Have you ever found yourself clinging to a relationship, struggling to let go, even when it no longer serves you? Have you felt the inner turmoil of love that feels more like a burden than a blessing? What if I told you that the greatest act of love isn't in staying, but in knowing when to walk away? In today's video, we'll explore a powerful concept rooted deeply in Buddhist philosophy, letting go of attachment and finding freedom. A concept that can change the way we view love, relationships, and our own inner peace. So, if you're ready for a journey that will challenge your understanding of love, stay tuned. Part 1: The Illusion of Attachment. Attachment. What is attachment? We often think we understand it, but how deep is our grasp on it? It's more than just the connection we have with people, places, and things. It is the very essence of our suffering. The Buddha said, attachment is the root of suffering, and yet, we cling, don't we? We hold tight, as if holding on to something will make it last forever. But does it? Does anything last forever? Imagine this, a boat drifting on a river. The boat is floating, carried by the current, effortlessly moving along. Yet, the moment we reach out to grab the oar, to control the boat's direction, it begins to lose its natural course. The current becomes a struggle, and the boat, which once moved freely, becomes tethered to the shore, caught in our need for control. Attachment, in this sense, is the oar. We believe that holding on, that controlling, will bring us peace. But in reality, it is the cause of our unrest. Think about the relationships we cherish, the things we hold dear. How often do we find ourselves trapped by them? We tell ourselves, if I can only hold on tighter, if I can only fix this, if I can only make them stay. But the tighter we hold, the more the sand slips through our fingers. Attachment is like holding sand in our hands. No matter how tight our grip, the more it slips away. Why? Because attachment, by its very nature, resists the flow of life. Isn't it curious? We hold on to love with such ferocity, not realizing that love, in its purest form, doesn't need to be held. It doesn't need to be grasped, clung to, or controlled. Love, true love, is the lotus that grows in the mud. It rises not from comfort, but from the muck of life. It doesn't demand, it simply is. Just as the lotus stretches toward the light, love grows toward freedom. It is in the light of understanding, in the light of freedom, that love blooms, without expectations, without clinging. But here's the paradox, even when we know this, even when we understand it intellectually, we still find ourselves clinging. Why? Because in our hearts, we believe that attachment is love. We confuse the two, don't we? We believe that if we don't hold on, we're abandoning. We think that if we let go, we no longer care. But is that true? Is love really about holding on, or is it about letting go? Let's reflect. If you let go of a loved one, does the love vanish? Does it dissolve into nothingness? Or does it transform? If you step away from someone, do you no longer care for them? Or do you free them to find their own path, while you also find yours? Does love truly die when we let go? Or does it merely take on a different form, one that is more honest, more pure? In Buddhism, attachment is not just a cause of suffering, it is also a distortion of our perception. We believe that we need to hold on to things, to people, to ideas, to make them real. But the truth is, they were never ours to hold. We were never meant to grasp. Attachment blinds us to the impermanence of life. We forget that everything changes, that everything flows. Holding on is like trying to stop a river with our hands. No matter how hard we try, the river keeps flowing, the water keeps moving. This is the essence of Buddhist teachings on detachment. Detachment is not about abandoning love or relationships. It's not about rejecting the world. It's about understanding the true nature of these things. They are impermanent, they are fleeting, they are not ours to control. When we can accept this, when we can let go of the need to possess, then we are free. Free to love, free to be, free to live without the chains of expectation. So, ask yourself, what are you holding on to? What is it that you fear letting go of? Is it a person? A job? An idea of who you are supposed to be? What would happen if you let it go? Would you disappear? Or would you finally be able to breathe? The question is not whether you can let go, it's whether you are willing to see that holding on was never the answer in the first place. Attachment, like a shadow, follows us wherever we go. But as the Buddha taught, when we let go of the ego, we let go of the attachment to our suffering. The suffering we experience in life is not caused by the things or people we love, it is caused by our attachment to them. When we can let go of the need to possess, we free ourselves from the cycle of suffering. We create space for something greater, peace, freedom, and true love. In the stillness of letting go, we find that the love we sought was never lost. It was always within us, waiting to be uncovered. When we release attachment, we allow ourselves to be fully present, fully alive, and fully free. And in that freedom, love blooms, not as a need, but as a gift. So, ask yourself once more, what would it feel like to let go? What if, in the act of releasing, you found peace? What if you found that love, in its truest form, is not something to be held, but something that grows when you let it go? In the end, attachment is the illusion that keeps us trapped in suffering. But detachment, the ability to release, to let go, to be free, is the path to liberation. It is the way of peace. The way of the Buddha. And the way of true love. Part 2, Love Without Attachment. Love without attachment. It sounds paradoxical, doesn't it? How can love exist without attachment? How can we truly love without needing to possess, control, or cling? In a world that often defines love by how tightly we hold on, how does love without attachment even make sense? But perhaps that is the very essence of love. Its truest form exists only when we let go of the need to grasp. Let's pause here and ask ourselves, what is love, really? Is love a need? Is it a desire to hold on, to possess, to make someone our own? Or is love a force that flows, that connects us without binding us? Attachment tells us that love is a thing to be held tight, but love, in its purest form, is a force that moves freely. It doesn't require control. It doesn't demand anything in return. It simply is. Imagine, for a moment, a tree in the middle of a field. Its branches stretch high, its leaves flutter in the wind, but the tree does not try to hold on to the wind. It lets the wind pass through, it lets the leaves fall when the season comes. It doesn't cling to the wind because it knows that to do so would be to deny the very nature of the wind itself. Love, like the wind, must be free. It cannot be confined by the branches of attachment. The moment we try to hold on to it, to control it, we stop it from flowing freely. And love, when held tightly, becomes something else. It becomes fear, it becomes dependency, it becomes suffering. But love without attachment is not love that fades or disappears, it is love that transforms. When we love without attachment, we no longer love to fulfill our own desires or to receive something in return. We love because we see the other as they truly are, not as a means to satisfy our own needs. We love because we recognize the beauty in their being, and in that recognition, we allow them to be free. This kind of love does not require anything in return because it is already complete in itself. This love does not demand, it simply is. Let's reflect for a moment. Have you ever loved someone and felt the burden of needing them? Perhaps you felt the weight of expectation, the longing for them to fulfill something inside you. But what happens when that need goes unmet? What happens when we find ourselves clinging to someone who does not reciprocate in the way we desire? We suffer, don't we? We feel pain, we feel loss, we feel emptiness. Why? Because our love has become attached to something, someone, that we cannot control. Our love becomes a chain, and the more we try to hold on, the more it drags us down. Now, imagine a love without these chains. A love that allows the other person to grow, to be free, without the burden of our expectations. A love that simply lets them be. In Buddhist philosophy, this is the essence of true love, metta, or loving kindness, that is unconditional, free from attachment. This love does not possess. It does not bind. It does not demand. It simply gives, without any expectation of return. In this love, there is no need to hold on. There is only the joy of the connection itself. Think of the sky, vast and open, without any walls or boundaries. The sky does not try to hold on to the clouds, and the clouds do not try to cling to the sky. They float freely, passing through, moving together in harmony. The sky and the clouds are both part of the same great expanse, but neither holds the other captive. This is how love should be. Like the sky, love is boundless, open, and free. It is only when we impose our own desires, our own limitations on love, that it becomes something less than it is meant to be. Can you recall a moment in your life when you truly loved someone and set them free? When you loved them so deeply, so completely, that you had no need for them to stay, to love you in return, or to fulfill your expectations. That is the love that transcends attachment. It is the love that transcends fear, because it knows that true love never depends on the other. It never depends on them staying or leaving. It is complete in itself. Perhaps you've experienced this kind of love in a friendship, in a parent-child relationship, or in a romantic relationship. It's the kind of love that is free from control. It's the kind of love that does not possess. When you love someone in this way, you allow them to be themselves without the pressure of trying to make them meet your needs. You release them into their own path, knowing that if love is meant to continue, it will, naturally, without force. And if it does not continue, you let it go, because love is not about keeping, it's about giving. And giving without the expectation of receiving in return is the truest form of love. Love without attachment is also the love we must give ourselves. So often, we attach our self-worth to the love others give us. We seek validation, recognition, and acceptance from the outside world. But true love begins within. It is the love we give ourselves, free from judgment, free from the need for approval, free from the chains of expectation. When we can love ourselves without attachment, we can then extend that same love to others. When we stop seeking love to fill the emptiness inside us, we realize that the emptiness was never truly there, it was a mirage, created by our attachments. Can you let go of the need for validation? Can you let go of the need for someone else to fulfill you? When you love yourself in this way, you free yourself from the chains of expectation, and in that freedom, your love becomes boundless. It becomes a love that is not dependent on anyone else, not tied to any conditions. It becomes love that flows naturally, effortlessly, like water that finds its own path. So, here's the question, can you love without attachment? Can you love freely, without needing to possess, without needing to control, without needing the other person to stay? Can you love with the wisdom to know that love, when it is true, never fades, it simply transforms? True love is not about holding on. It is about letting go. And in that letting go, love becomes pure. It becomes free. In Buddhism, there is a concept called sunyata, or emptiness, which teaches us that nothing is permanent, and nothing is truly ours to hold. Love, too, is empty, not in the sense of being empty of meaning, but in the sense that it is not bound by the constraints of attachment. When we realize this emptiness, we are free to love without fear, without grasping. We are free to love with an open heart, knowing that love is not a possession, but a gift, one that we give, without expectation, without need. Love without attachment is not just a spiritual ideal. It is a way of being. It is the recognition that love is not about control, but about freedom. And when we love without attachment, we find the deepest peace, a peace that comes not from holding on, but from letting go. Part 3, the pain of letting go and the freedom that follows. Letting go. It's the most difficult thing we are ever asked to do, isn't it? We think we understand it, we think we're prepared for it, but when the time comes, it feels like we're being torn apart. Letting go isn't just a choice, it's a transformation. It's a shedding of old skin, a breaking of old patterns, a letting go of everything we thought we knew about love, about attachment, and about ourselves. But why does it hurt so much? Why is the pain of letting go so profound, so excruciating? In Buddhist philosophy, we are taught that all pain arises from attachment. We attach ourselves to people, to places, to things, and when those things shift, change, or disappear, we feel as though we are losing a part of ourselves. We are not losing them, though, we are losing our attachment to them. We are losing the identity we created around them. And in that loss, in that pain, we find the beginning of something new. But what is this pain, really? What does it teach us? It's not just the ache of parting, the sorrow of separation, or the emptiness of being without. It's deeper. This pain, the pain of letting go, is the suffering that comes from clinging. It's the internal conflict that arises when we face the truth that the love we've known, the relationships we've held, and the identity we've built are not permanent. They are not ours to keep. And in that truth lies both the agony and the liberation. Let's explore this. Have you ever experienced the sharp sting of letting go? Maybe it was a friendship that faded, a loved one who drifted away, or a dream that didn't come to fruition. In those moments, it feels as though we are losing something we can never get back. The pain is real, it cuts deep, and for a time, it seems unbearable. But what if this pain isn't a sign of something broken? What if it is the sign of something healing, of something being freed from the chains of attachment? Think of the lotus again. It begins its journey in the mud, in the depths of the earth, where it is dark and heavy. But it rises, doesn't it? Slowly, painfully, it pushes its way through the dirt, through the muck, through the weight of the world above it. And when it finally reaches the surface, it opens. It blooms. The pain of that journey, the pain of breaking free from the earth, is the pain that allows the lotus to blossom into its full beauty. In the same way, our own pain, our own suffering from letting go, becomes the catalyst for our transformation. It's a paradox, isn't it? The pain we feel when we let go is the very thing that frees us. We may feel as though we are losing ourselves, but we are not. We are shedding the layers of attachment, the layers of false identity, the layers that keep us tied to something that no longer serves us. And in that shedding, we find a deeper, truer version of ourselves. A version that is not defined by attachment, but by presence. A version that is not controlled by the past, but free to be in the now. Let's take a moment and reflect. Have you ever held on to something so tightly that it hurt? Maybe it was a relationship, a job, or even an old belief that you held dear. But the tighter you held on, the more it hurt, didn't it? It was like trying to stop the flow of a river with your bare hands. The more you struggled, the more you felt yourself slipping under the current. This is the nature of attachment. It promises security, but it delivers suffering. But what happens when we stop fighting, when we stop struggling, when we stop trying to control the current? What happens when we let go? For a moment, there is stillness. There is fear, yes, but there is also a quiet kind of peace. Because in that stillness, we realize something: we are still here. We are still whole. And in that realization, something shifts within us. In Buddhism, there is a teaching about dukkha, often translated as suffering. But suffering is not simply pain, it is also the result of attachment to things that are impermanent. The Buddha teaches that when we let go of our attachment to things, we can transcend suffering. But the journey to this transcendence is not easy. It is a path that requires courage, a willingness to face the pain of letting go and to embrace the freedom that follows. It's not a one-time event, it's a continuous process of shedding, of releasing, of allowing ourselves to grow. So why does the pain of letting go ultimately lead to freedom? Because, in the end, we realize that we are not our attachments. We are not the people we hold on to, or the things we possess. We are not even the thoughts we cling to. We are something greater. When we let go, we free ourselves from the illusions that keep us trapped. We release the need to define ourselves by external things and instead find our true self, our authentic, unshackled self. This is where the freedom lies, not in holding on to anything, but in the realization that we can stand alone, free from the need for external validation, free from the need to be loved, and free from the fear of loss. The freedom comes when we can say, I am enough, just as I am. I am whole, just as I am. Letting go is not an abandonment. It is not an act of rejection. It is a quiet act of self-liberation. When we let go, we do not destroy the love we once had. We do not erase the memories. We do not diminish the significance of the connection. Instead, we allow it to transform into something greater, something that no longer binds us, but something that frees us. We honor the love, but we let go of the attachment. And in that letting go, we find that love, in its truest form, is not about possession or control. It is about freedom, freedom for both ourselves and the other. So, what happens after we let go? What happens when we finally release the things that once held us captive? There is an emptiness, yes, but it is not the emptiness of loss, it is the emptiness of potential. It is the space where new growth can begin. In that emptiness, we find clarity. We find peace. And we find the freedom to live fully, without fear, without regret, and without the chains of attachment. In the pain of letting go, we find the doorway to a new life. A life where love is free, where we are free, and where we no longer need to cling to the past in order to find meaning. The freedom that follows letting go is not the absence of love, it is the presence of something more, something greater, something that transcends attachment and rises into the light of true freedom. So, the next time you feel the pain of letting go, remember, this pain is not your enemy. It is your teacher. It is the catalyst for your transformation. And in its wake, you will find the freedom that you've been seeking all along. Part 4, the Zen philosophy of letting go. Letting go. We hear the words, and yet, how often do we truly understand them? In the chaos of life, in the constant striving and seeking, we often forget the quiet wisdom that Zen offers, the wisdom that teaches us that letting go is not an act of abandonment, but an act of awakening. It is the ultimate form of freedom, not in the sense of escaping, but in the sense of returning to our true nature. But what is it about letting go that is so deeply embedded in Zen philosophy? And why is it, in many ways, the key to inner peace? Zen teaches us that the mind is like a monkey, constantly jumping from thought to thought, desire to desire, attachment to attachment. Our minds are always grasping, always holding on, believing that something external will bring us peace. But peace is never found in the grasping, in the holding tight. Peace is found in the release. In Zen, letting go is not a sacrifice, it is an act of clarity. It is seeing things as they truly are, impermanent, fleeting, and ever-changing, and embracing them in their true nature, without clinging, without resistance. Think about the nature of water. It moves effortlessly, flowing over rocks, weaving through the landscape. Water does not cling to the rocks it passes over. It does not hold on to the land. It simply flows. In the same way, love, joy, and life itself should flow. But we, so often, try to dam up the flow, trying to hold it in, trying to control it. The Zen master would say, stop trying to hold the river in your hands. The moment we let go, the moment we stop resisting, we are able to flow with the current of life. This is the essence of Zen, the wisdom of non-resistance, the wisdom of acceptance, the wisdom of letting go. But letting go is not something we simply do once, it is a continuous practice, a constant returning to the present moment. It is a commitment to releasing what no longer serves us, over and over again. Zen teaches us that we must let go of our attachment to the past, our fear of the future, and our need to control the present. Only then can we truly experience the fullness of life as it is, without distortion, without expectation. In Zen, there is a concept known as mu, which means nothingness. But this nothingness is not emptiness in the way we might think. It is not a void, a lack of meaning. It is the space of potential, the space where all things can arise. It is the freedom from attachment, the release from the need to possess or control. In this mu, we find true freedom. We find clarity. We find peace. And in this peace, there is no need to hold on to anything. The absence of attachment creates space for presence. Imagine this moment, a leaf floating on the surface of a pond. The leaf does not struggle. It does not try to control the water. It simply floats, carried by the gentle current. This is the Zen way. Letting go is not about struggle, it is about ease. It is about surrendering to the flow of life, trusting that the current will take you where you need to go. In this surrender, you are not defeated, you are liberated. But why is letting go so challenging for us? Why do we hold on to things so tightly, even when we know they cause us pain? Zen teaches that the mind is conditioned to cling, to believe that by holding on, we can find security. But this belief is an illusion. True security, true peace, comes from letting go. When we hold on to something, we bind ourselves to it. We create a story, an identity, and we begin to believe that our happiness depends on that thing. But when that thing fades, when it changes, we are left in sorrow, for we have tied our peace to something impermanent. In Zen, we are reminded that everything is impermanent. Nothing stays the same. The seasons change. The moon wanes. The flowers bloom and die. And in this impermanence, there is freedom. There is the freedom to let go, to release our attachment to the fleeting moments of life, and to embrace each moment as it is, without clinging, without resistance. So, what does it mean to let go in Zen? It means releasing the need to control. It means releasing the need to possess. It means letting go of the illusions we've built about ourselves and the world. It is about finding peace in the present moment, without the need to grasp at what is past or what is to come. It is about surrendering to life as it is, in its full complexity and mystery, without trying to make it fit into our limited understanding. Letting go is also about the cultivation of mindfulness. In Zen, mindfulness is the practice of being fully present, of seeing things clearly without the filters of attachment, fear, or desire. When we let go of our attachments, we allow ourselves to truly see, to truly be present with what is. It is only in this presence, in this awareness, that we can experience the fullness of life. And in that experience, we find peace, not peace that comes from external circumstances, but peace that arises from within. Here's the paradox: the more we let go, the more we receive. The more we release our grip on the world, the more the world reveals itself to us in its fullness. When we are not holding on to expectations, we are free to experience the world as it truly is, without distortion, without attachment. And in this freedom, we discover something extraordinary. We discover that we are enough, just as we are. We do not need anything to complete us. We are whole. Zen teaches that the path to enlightenment is not a path of accumulation but a path of release. It is a path of letting go of everything that clouds our vision, that keeps us trapped in the illusion of separateness, that prevents us from seeing our true nature. And when we let go, we find that we are not alone. We are one with everything, one with the universe, one with life itself. We realize that we have never been separate from anything. We are part of the flow, part of the river, part of the vast expanse of life. So, what does it mean to live the Zen philosophy of letting go? It means living with presence, with acceptance, with freedom. It means releasing our need to control, our need to possess, our need to hold on. It means living in harmony with the flow of life, trusting that everything we need will come to us when we stop resisting. And in that trust, in that surrender, we find peace. We find clarity. We find love. Not the kind of love that binds, but the kind of love that frees. Letting go is not an end. It is a beginning. It is the beginning of a new way of living, a way of living in freedom, in peace, and in harmony with the world. And it is in this freedom, this release, that we find our true self. The self that has always been there, waiting to be discovered. The self that is unshackled, unbound, and free. So, as we let go, let us remember, in the release, there is grace. In the letting go, there is peace. And in that peace, there is everything we have ever sought. Part 5, The Journey of Self-Discovery Through Letting Go. Letting go is not just about release, it is a journey, a pilgrimage toward the self we have always been, but have forgotten in the noise of attachment and desire. The path of letting go is not linear, it is not a destination we reach in a single step, but a winding, often painful journey that leads us back to ourselves. It is a journey that requires us to shed the layers of false identities we have built around ourselves, to strip away the attachments that cloud our perception, and to walk toward the truth of who we are, free from the constraints of external expectations. Have you ever felt, at the deepest level, that there was something more to you than what you show to the world? Perhaps there has always been a whisper inside, a quiet knowing that there is something profound beneath the surface, waiting to be discovered. This is the heart of the journey, the discovery of your true self, unshackled and unencumbered. But to reach this self, we must first let go of the illusions we have created about ourselves. We must let go of the need to be validated by others, the need to be seen in a certain way, the need to hold on to the version of ourselves that fits into the expectations of the world. Buddhism teaches us that suffering arises from attachment to people, to things, to ideas, and yes, to even the very identity we cling to. We build our lives around these attachments, convinced that they are what make us who we are. But in reality, these attachments only keep us bound in a cycle of longing and pain. They are not who we are, they are just the stories we tell ourselves. The true self, the essence of who we are, lies beneath all these layers. And the journey of self-discovery is the process of peeling away these layers, one by one, and learning to stand in the truth of our own being. Think about it for a moment. When was the last time you truly let go of an old belief, an old identity, or an old way of being? Perhaps it was when you released a relationship that no longer served you, or when you let go of a career path that no longer aligned with your values. Did it hurt? Of course, it did. Letting go always involves some pain, because it forces us to face the fear of the unknown. It challenges us to step into a space where we are no longer defined by the past, but by the infinite possibilities of the present. But here's the paradox, as much as letting go may hurt in the moment, it is in this very pain that we discover who we truly are. It is through this discomfort that we begin to see clearly. The illusion of control, the illusion of permanence, fades away, and in its place emerges something much more profound, an awareness of our true nature. This awareness is not something we can acquire from the outside, it is something we uncover from within. The true self has always been there, waiting, watching, but only when we let go of our attachments can we finally hear its voice. In Zen, there is a concept called satori, which refers to a moment of sudden enlightenment, a moment of realization when the veil of illusion is lifted and the truth is revealed. It is in these moments, often triggered by the act of letting go, that we experience true self-awareness. We see ourselves not as we have been conditioned to see ourselves, but as we truly are, free, unbound, and complete. And this realization is not something that can be forced or rushed. It comes only when we are ready, when we have stripped away the layers of attachment that have been obscuring our vision. Let's take a step back and reflect. What are the attachments in your life that have shaped your identity? Perhaps they are the roles you play, the image of yourself that you present to the world. Maybe you identify as a daughter, a partner, an employee, or a friend. But are these roles truly who you are? Or are they just the stories you've been told to believe? Who are you beyond these labels? Who are you when you let go of everything you think you should be? The journey of self-discovery through letting go is the process of stepping into that question. It is the process of letting go of the identities, the roles, and the attachments that keep us trapped in a limited version of ourselves. It is the journey of shedding the old skin and stepping into the fullness of who we truly are. This journey is not easy. It requires courage, the courage to face the unknown, to step into the void, to let go of what we thought we knew. But it also requires trust, the trust that when we let go, we will not fall, but instead, we will rise into something greater. It is the trust that we are not defined by what we hold on to, but by what we are willing to release. In the process of letting go, we often encounter fear. Fear that we will be alone, fear that we will be without, fear that we will lose ourselves. But fear is not the enemy. Fear is simply a sign that we are on the right path. It is the ego's last attempt to keep us in its grip. And when we face that fear, when we let go in spite of it, we discover a freedom that we could never have imagined, a freedom that comes from being whole, from being complete, just as we are. As we walk this path, we begin to realize that the journey is not about finding something we are missing. It is about remembering what we already have, our innate worth, our boundless potential, our limitless love. It is about returning to the self we have always been, beneath the layers of conditioning, beneath the roles and labels we have attached to ourselves. This journey is not just about letting go of external things, it is about letting go of the stories we tell ourselves. It is about releasing the narrative of inadequacy, the narrative of need, the narrative of fear. And as we let go of these stories, we discover that we are not broken. We are not incomplete. We are whole. We are enough. In the end, the journey of self-discovery through letting go is the journey of returning to the self we have always been. It is the process of uncovering the truth of who we are, free from the illusions that have kept us bound. And in this process, we find the freedom to live fully, to love deeply, and to be at peace with ourselves. So, as you walk this path, remember, the journey is not about becoming something more. It is about becoming who you already are. It is about letting go of everything that is not you, so that you can step into the fullness of your own being. In that letting go, you will find the freedom to discover your true self, unshackled, unbound, and whole. Part 6, Embracing Freedom and the Ripple Effect of Letting Go. Freedom. It's a word we long for, a word we desire, yet how often do we truly understand what it means? We search for it outside ourselves, in the relationships we hold, in the possessions we accumulate, in the achievements we strive for. But what if I told you that true freedom is not something we gain from the world, but something we discover within? What if the key to freedom lies not in gaining, but in letting go? In the vast ocean of life, we often act like ships anchored to the shore, held fast by our attachments, our fears, our desires. We tell ourselves that these anchors keep us safe, but what we fail to realize is that they also keep us stuck, stagnant. The shore we cling to is not safety, but limitation. The moment we let go of our anchors, we are no longer confined to the shore. We are free to sail, to explore, to flow with the current of life. Letting go, then, is the act of releasing these anchors. It is the decision to free ourselves from the constraints of attachment, from the illusions of control, and to trust the flow of life. It is an act of surrender, not to defeat, but to possibility. When we let go, we free ourselves from the prison of our own making, and in that freedom, we discover the limitless potential of who we are and what we can become. But freedom is not just a personal journey. When we embrace freedom, we create ripples that extend far beyond ourselves. These ripples touch the lives of others, for freedom is contagious. When we let go of our attachments, when we live authentically and freely, we inspire others to do the same. Just as a stone thrown into a pond creates ripples that spread across the water, our act of letting go sends waves of change into the world, touching lives, transforming hearts, and shifting perspectives. Imagine this: a person standing tall, fully liberated from the need to please, to conform, to hold on. They move through the world with ease, with grace, with authenticity. Their presence is magnetic, not because they try to attract attention, but because they are fully themselves. In their freedom, they show others that it is possible to live without fear, without attachment, and without the need to prove one's worth. And as others witness this, they, too, begin to question their own attachments, their own fears, and their own limitations. This is the ripple effect of letting go. Let's pause here and reflect. What does it mean to live freely? To live without the weight of past regrets, without the fear of future uncertainty, and without the need for external validation. What does it mean to live as your true self, unshackled by the opinions of others, unburdened by the need to control the outcome of every situation? To live freely is to be fully present in each moment, accepting life as it is, without resistance. It is to trust that you are enough, just as you are, without the need to prove your worth to anyone, including yourself. This freedom is not about escaping the world or detaching from reality. It is about being fully engaged with the world in a way that is not bound by fear, judgment, or expectation. It is about walking through life with a deep sense of trust, that whatever comes, you will be able to meet it with grace, with wisdom, and with love. And in that freedom, you find peace, not peace that comes from avoiding difficulty, but peace that comes from knowing that no matter what arises, you are strong enough to face it. But here's the thing, we cannot fully embrace freedom without first embracing vulnerability. Vulnerability is the gateway to true freedom. When we let go of our attachment to control, we open ourselves up to the unknown. We make ourselves vulnerable to the uncertainties of life. And it is in this vulnerability that we discover our true strength, not the strength of control, but the strength of surrender. The strength that comes from knowing that we don't need to have all the answers, we don't need to control everything, and we don't need to hold on to what no longer serves us. The ripple effect of letting go is also felt in the relationships we build. When we release the need to control others, when we stop clinging to the idea that we can change them or hold them close, we create space for real connection. We allow others to be who they truly are, without the pressure of our expectations. And in this space, love can flourish, not as a possession, but as a shared experience. True love is not about holding on, it is about allowing the other person to be free, while still remaining connected in a space of mutual respect and understanding. But freedom doesn't just change how we interact with others. It changes how we interact with ourselves. When we let go of our own self-imposed limitations, we create the space to truly explore who we are. We stop identifying with the roles we've played, the labels we've been given, or the stories we've told ourselves. Instead, we begin to ask the most important question: who am I, beneath all of this? And in that exploration, we begin to discover the vast, boundless nature of our own being. The ripple effect of letting go also extends to the world at large. When we release our attachments to the outcome of our actions, we stop seeking validation from external sources. We no longer try to prove ourselves to the world, and in that release, we become free to act from a place of integrity, of authenticity. And in that authenticity, we become powerful agents of change, not because we are trying to change the world, but because we are being true to ourselves. And in being true to ourselves, we inspire others to do the same. Letting go creates a ripple of transformation that reverberates throughout our lives and the lives of others. It's a ripple that doesn't seek recognition or validation. It's a ripple that simply exists, quietly and powerfully, transforming everything it touches. It is in this ripple that we find the freedom we seek, not in a distant future, but in the present moment, in the release, in the letting go. And so, as we embrace freedom, we are not only freeing ourselves but also creating space for others to do the same. We are lighting the way for those who are still caught in the chains of attachment, showing them that freedom is possible. We are spreading the message that true liberation comes not from holding on, but from letting go. And in this message, we become not just individuals on a journey, but a collective force of change, a wave of transformation that ripples out across the world, one act of letting go at a time. In the end, the ripple effect of letting go is not just about the changes it brings to our own lives, it's about the transformation it inspires in the world around us. As we free ourselves, we free others. As we embrace freedom, we invite others to do the same. And in that shared freedom, we create a world that is lighter, more loving, and more connected, a world where the ripples of letting go continue to spread, long after we have released our hold. So, let us embrace the freedom that comes with letting go, knowing that as we do, the ripples of our transformation will touch everything and everyone we encounter. And in that, we find the true power of freedom, not in what we hold on to, but in what we are willing to release. Now that you've journeyed with us through the depths of Zen and Buddhist philosophy, the question is, what will you do with this newfound understanding? Will you continue to hold on to what no longer serves you, or will you choose the freedom that comes with letting go? If this video resonated with you, we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe to Serenity Path, because true peace, true freedom, and true love start with you. Don't forget to hit the bell icon, so you never miss a moment of the wisdom we share. Take the first step towards your transformation, right here, right now, on Serenity Path.